in today's video, I'm going to be continuing to work on my graphic 45 Seize the Day 12 by 12 layouts, where I am seeing how many layouts I can make using one collection pack. I have in front of me here page 12. This is from the last video where I did 11 and 12. I'm going to be flipping over and adding 13 to the back, and then we'll be adding another piece for page 14. To start this page, I'm going to take the second half of this paper. Now I use this side on the last layout. I'm going to be using this side here, but I'm actually going to be cutting this paper. It's 6 inches and I'm keeping it at 6 inches, but I'm going to be cutting a 4-inch strip off of the top and then the 4-inch strip across the bottom. So I'm basically removing this 4 inches because I'm going to be placing a photo here. So there's no purpose. I can take that paper and use it hopefully on another layout. So I'm just going to cut these 2 pieces out for right now. Now I did go ahead and ink the edges of my papers, and I'm going to be placing these here and here in the corners. And then I have a 6x4 white photo mat that I did ink my edges. If you already have your photos and you want to skip this, that is perfectly fine. But if you also like to have a white border around your photos and you want to have the mat there, you can go ahead and add this too. Now I also have 2 more 4x6 white photo mats that I'm going to be adding on this side, and I'm going to bring them down just a little bit from the edges, like this. And then from the center of one of the frames, this was a piece, I forgot to ink these edges. This was a piece that was cut out from one of the frames that I used on the office from the last layout. So I just carefully cut the inside to use my frame. It's actually on the back side of this page that we're working on. But I'm going to be putting this one here in that center. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure this so that it's the same, and I'm guessing it's going to be about 3/8 of an inch. Yeah, it's looking about 3/8 of an inch down from the top edge and then up from the bottom edge. And I'm going to be applying these here. So I am just going to go ahead and adhere all of this down to my paper. So now that I have the stuff on the base of my page, I'm going to add some embellishments. I've taken this piece here and I've cut the coral pieces off of the bottom, and I've cut them into sections. So I have these 2 sections here. This was the first section. I just stopped at this blue kind of coral piece and I just trimmed around it. This one I am going to be placing down here. And I may bump this up on some chipboard, I haven't decided yet. And then this one, I've cut from the purple piece to, this was the edge of the page here. And I've just kind of cut up around it. I did leave this because it does have some look like seaweed looking pieces here, so I didn't go too far into it. If you would prefer, you can cut around the clownfish into here and make it a little bit smaller as well, because these are going to be on the photos quite a bit. Unless I bring it down here, and I might actually drop this one down a little bit, just so it's not covering as much of the photo. So that is going to be the pieces for this part of the page for now. I'm going to leave these sit though. I'm not going to put them on yet. I'm going to move this page over, and then I'm going to bring in page 14. Now for the base for page 14, I'm going to be using the orange side of my coral paper. And I have first this piece. This was the leftover piece from Seize the Day. I've just taken the shell border off and I'm going to use it on the opposite side. This is 11 1/4 inches. I'm just going to leave it as one full solid piece. And I'm going to be placing it over here with a small little orange border between these 2 papers, and I'm going to have an equal size border here on top and bottom. And then for the other side, I have 2 4x6 photo mats. I'm going to be placing this right up against the edge of my Seize the Day picture. Actually, these are not 4x6. They're 4 inches by 5 5/8, so that together they are 11¼ inches, just like this paper is. So I wanted it to be the same size. So you will just trim slightly a 4x6 photo to get it to fit on here. Then I have my shell border, and it is going to go up against the edge over here. Now what I'm going to do is, once I have my shell border on here, I'm going to have a uniform border on both sides, and then a uniform border on the top and bottom. So we've got that frame around that whole page. So I'm going to add this to my page first, and then I'm going to come back and add some additional pieces. Now I'm going to take these 2 journaling cards here, and I'm going to be cutting the centers out to use the frames. I'm going to be leaving the white borders on my frames and trimming around the insides. And then I have 2 3x4 white photo mats that I'm going to put as backers on here. I'm going to very carefully add a very thin line of adhesive around the outside edges on the sides and across the bottom, and I'm going to leave the top open when I put it on here so a photo can slide underneath. Now I have my openings at the top here. I'm going to put one of these, I'm just going to be covering this actual image on the paper, and I'm going to take the second one, and I have to decide if I want it to be behind the first one or on top of the first one. I think I like it behind. And I'm going to angle it. I don't want it to cover too much of these photos, but I don't want it to cover this fish either. You could put it straight if you like the look of that. I like mine angled. You could angle them both in this direction, but I like mine going in opposite directions. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it be right past the fish, is the lips of this fish, and then the fin on this fish. And then you'll still be able to see that clownfish there. And then I'm going to move this one over. I am going to leave some space here because I'm going to be putting, I've taken this fish from the pieces that I was fussy cutting. So I have this one, and I'm going to be putting it here on that frame to give it some decoration. And then I have this, it was at the top of that page that I just cut just the jellyfish, and I'm going to place it, I think I'm going to put it here. I'd contemplated putting it over here, but I think I'm just going to have it all be on this frame, and I might pop it up on some chipboard to give it some dimension, and same with this one, I will pop that one up to give it some dimension. But the reason I'm bringing these pieces in is I want to make sure that I have enough room here in the center that I can actually put this here. I had originally planned on putting it on the paper, but now that I have my frames and I might put some chipboard, it doesn't matter, but I still want to have that little space there. So once I have my frames where I want them, I'm just going to come down here and mark. I just trace around the corners very lightly so that I know where to put this back on the page, and then I can always erase those. So I'm going to put this one down first, and then I'm going to put this one down. I'm not going to apply adhesive to the back of here or to this corner so that those photos can still slide under, and I'm not going to put any adhesive on this corner so that that photo can still slide into that photo mat or into that frame. So I have my little piece of chipboard here. I'm going to set it on these frames, and then I'm going to set my piece like this. Now my fish is going to be swimming at an angle, and the seaweed is actually going to be straight up and down. So I need to make sure that this piece, so it's going to be adhered basically here and here. I need to make sure that I don't adhere it down to the front of that white photo mat on either of the frames, because I need to make sure that my photos can slide behind it. Slide this down a little bit. Just going to position it until it's in the right spot. Okay, it looks like there should be good. So now I'm going to just apply my adhesive to the front of it, and then I'm going to set this on here, in position. And then I've got a little teeny tiny piece of chipboard for up here. I'm going to apply it to the side of the frame, and then I'm going to put my jellyfish on it. And I'm going to leave this open, obviously, so that that frame can still be accessed. So I just need to be careful of where this is positioned. And I'm going to put my jellyfish just like that. So what I think I'm actually going to do with this one, I'm going to put this on the jellyfish like that. And then I'm going to cut another small piece. And I'm only going to apply it to this portion of the top of my jellyfish. That way the photo can still slide under there. So I can't put a piece all the way across there or it'll hang up on the photo. The photo won't be able to get in that frame. But that'll make that piece a little bit sturdier. So once I have those two pieces on, I'll apply my adhesive and then adhere those down to the frame. Now for the opposite page, I've got a piece that fits on the bottom of this squirrel that will pop it up a little bit here and give it some dimension. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the bottom of this area. Now once my pieces have that chipboard on the back, I'm going to just place the one here on the bottom of the page, and I'm just going to line up the edge of my paper with the edge of the base of the page. And then this one, if I put it here, it's going to cover quite a bit of my photo. So I'm actually going to bring it down here. It's actually important to do. I didn't even think about that. I need to actually put it below the photo because I have my chipboard here. So I'm just going to put my chipboard right at the edge of the white photo mat. That way it's for sure not going to be an issue, and then my photo can slide back behind it. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere those into place. Now after looking at this page a little bit more, I have decided that I don't like the cluster with just two. In the other videos I've mentioned that I typically add things in odd numbers, so I'm going to add one more fish to this cluster to make it look a little bit more complete. I did already add my chipboard piece to the back side of it, and I'm going to make sure that it's not over top of the white part and it's not hanging over the frame, so it's kind of off the side. And so again, this is open where that photo can slide behind it. And I think that just finishes it off really well. Brings a little bit more of that purple color to offset a lot of that teal and break it up. And I just like the look of that cluster now. So now we've actually got 5 elements on the page here, which I think is perfect. We're going to come over here and we're going to add a couple of things to this side. Now I have this little turtle, so it's all cut from that same paper, so I'm down to just the little scraps of this paper. I've got this little turtle. I'm going to be putting him over here. He's got some chipboard on him already. This one is the last piece. This was kind of over here on the edge of this piece of paper. It might have been right around where that turtle was, but I've got this little tiny piece left. It was actually, I think, part of this here, if I remember correctly, but I'm going to be putting it here. And then I've got this turtle piece. I've got my chipboard on it. This is just going to be adhered to the paper, and then this piece is going to go on top of it here. So I'm going to adhere this portion down here. So I'm just going to add my adhesive now and do this. So I'll set it like this. And then I'm taking my chipboard piece, or putting my adhesive on my chipboard there, and then I will arrange it. Maybe just like that. So now all of this is open to have the photos slide behind. I might go ahead and apply a little bit of adhesive here. Pop this down, that way it's a little bit more protected. It's still open at the end, but then that might not be as inclined to fold. Perfect. And then I have one more fish for here. I've got this bigger fish and I'm going to put it down here. You could put this anywhere you like it. So if you like it over more, but I'm going to have mine kind of be in a little bit of like a cluster here. I do have my chipboard on it, so I'm going to put my chipboard, my adhesive on my chipboard, and then be very careful of where that chipboard is so that the photo can slide up underneath of it. I think I'm gonna just make sure it's just like that. So then everything is open for those photos. Now there's one final thing I'm going to do to this page. So we've got this border around this page. I'm going to bring a little bit of that orange into this page over here. I've taken my full border sheet that I have left. I've cut the orange border off the bottom, so it's a little teeny tiny border piece here. I went ahead and inked my edges, and now I'm going to tuck this underneath of here because I have it popped up on chipboard. If you didn't use chipboard, that's okay. You can actually put it up here on the front, and actually it would look cute on the front too, but it's popped up and I don't want it to be popped up on mine. So I'm going to put it underneath of here, and I'm only going to be adhering it to that red paper. Oh, I forgot to adhere this one down. That'll be helpful. So I won't have to put this underneath of it. I can just put this on and then put my chipboard piece down. So I'm going to adhere this to the red paper here, here, and here, and I'm going to leave this open so that photo can tuck behind it. Then I'm going to go ahead and adhere this piece down where it's supposed to go to finish this page. Now I'm going to leave my pages like this. I'm not putting any pearls on it. I'm not putting any beads on it. Now if you choose to do that, you can. I'm just going to leave mine plain. I do have a couple of other ones that are plain in here, and so I just decided that I want to leave these ones as is so that the main thing is all these little clusters of the embellishments and then the 7 photos on the page. So this is it for pages 13 and 14. Now in the next video, I think that'll be the last one, and I will be doing the actual front page and the back page of the book. I think that's all I will have enough paper to do, and I'll have a little tiny bit of paper left over. So I hope you will join me in that final tutorial.